Hey everyone, Richard Metalfan here, still continuing the Cradle discography, and today we're looking into their third release and second full length album entitled Dusk in Her Embrace. Yep, this is the second out of the two releases that this band put out. This came out on August 19th, 1996, about 7 months after the Vampire EP. Now, at this time, the band signed to a new label. They got signed to Music for Nations. And a lot of people don't know that this is actually a second version that they made. There was a first version that they made in January of 1995 with the very first lineup that I believe appeared on Pertwee Evil Made the Flesh or so, which originally for the first label. Well, but due to legal actions and they got some different members, they just actually re-recorded the whole thing, and the end result is to this album, Dusk in Her, this second Dusk album, which I never really knew about it until I saw an interview with Danny Filth that there was there was actually an original version of Dusk, and always thought at first this was the original, which I was like, huh, I never knew that, which I thought that was kind of an interesting story. But this album itself is pretty much a really good album. Still showcases what Cradle Filth are, sort of like black metal with a bit of the gothic type vibe to it, but with a bit of extreme elements thrown in there. But yeah, and let's get into this album. Now the album opens up with a little intro called Humana Inspired to Nightmare, which is a little short instrumental, which kind of gives off like a dark, kind of gothy, the eerie, haunting atmosphere, hence the album called Dusk in Her Embrace, which I thought was pretty interesting. And then we get to which then leads into the next song, Heaven Torn Asunder. Starts off with some very slow riffs, and then the thicket sort of builds up, and then sort of like a very high screechy scream from Danny Filth. And it's pretty good. And the bass is pretty audible on that track, as with all the songs on this album, which is pretty cool. Then we get to a Funeral in Carpathia, which is just a very fast-paced song. Just some really fast riffs. It's really fucking sick, and just insane drumming is just wow, pretty much. Then we get to a gothic romance, Red Roses for the Devil's Whore, which is just off with a very string intro, and it's pretty interesting, and a very good scream from Danny. It's pretty interesting. I keep saying that. You stop that. But anyway, then we get to a Malice Through the Looking Glass, which starts off with a very haunting kind of string intro, similar to how the opening intro was. And just a very great piano part in there, and it just love how kind of like near the end, so the instruments sort of fade away, and it sort of has a bit of a scary narration type thing from Danny, which I thought was pretty cool. And then we get to Dusk in Her Embrace, the title track. What to say about this song? It's pretty much one of the best tracks on this album, and one of the best tracks Cradle of Filth has made. Really love this song a lot, and just the drumming on that song is just fucking fast. Love this song. Yep. Then we get to The Graveyard by Moonlight. It's just another instrumental. It's just very calm and smoothing. Sort of the piano kind of gives off that type of like the type of vibe like it's in a moonlight, hence the title, which it sort of fits, and I kind of like it. Yep. Then we get to a Beauty Slept in Sodom. I think it's a pretty good song. I really love the keyboard intro. It's pretty great. Yep. And then we get to the last song, Haunting Shores, which is a pretty strong way to end this album. It just starts off with a like a string intro, and just gets some really fast tremolo picking by the guitars, and it's just really great. And this is actually the first Cradle album to have a special guest, because near the very end it has a little bit of a narration from Kronos from the legendary Venom, which is a pretty good song. Like I said, the song Haunting Shores is a strong way to end this album. It's a sort of like hit it off with like a bang, and I really like this album. Now overall, Dusk in Her Embrace by Cradle of Filth is another classic of theirs. I really like this album a lot. If I were to give this album a score, I'd probably give this like a solid 9 out of 10. And I really like this album a lot. It's pretty much one of their best albums to date, and then like the early years of Cradle. But yeah, that's basically my review of Dusk in Her Embrace, guys. Thank you guys for watching. See you all next video. Keep it metal.